Welcome to Gaming on a Budget. Today we bring you Clank, a deck building adventure. Now, Clank is often billed as a dungeon crawl of sorts, but I would honestly call it more of a race game, as we will be playing master thieves who will be journeying into the depths to attempt to, well, let's not call it steal because it's laying around, but acquire valuable artifacts and things with which to, make our name in the world and make our fortune and all that good stuff there.
So it could technically be steal because the dragons acquired it and made this elaborate tunnel for it.
But it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
And I don't really say the dragon made the tunnels. Dragons generally just move in. I don't know if they would be counted as burrowing animals or not.
So maybe we're liberating the treasures.
Relocating, I don't know, who cares? Anyway, the point being, we're going to accomplish that by playing our hand of 5 cards. Every one of the cards you draw must be played. This is important because you actually start out with cards with a +1 clank on them. Clank is something we want to avoid because clank is noise that we're generating in our adventures through the dungeon that will be added to the clank pile here and then at designated times added to the dragon bag. When a dragon draw is triggered, cubes will be pulled from the bag and any cubes of your color become wounds. Reach the end of your wound track and, well, obviously you die. Now, if you happen to die down here in the depths, that's below the green line there, you're done. Game over. And you don't score your points, you're dead. You're a rotting corpse in the dungeon. You become one of those little skulls you're always tripping over in your dungeon crawling adventures.
Right? Or that pop out of the traps in certain movies.
Maybe you get reanimated by a necromancer. Who knows? Now, if you die in the upper levels, you are rescued by the villagers who, drag your limp body back out the door. You still get to score your points, but you don't get one of the coveted mastery tokens, which is worth 20 points. So it's a pretty big deal.
It can make a difference.
It can make a big difference. Big difference. However, it's certainly not a sure thing. One strategy sometimes employed is to charge in, grab the first artifact you can, and charge back out. Because that, or at any time that someone leaves with a artifact, triggers the countdown to the end, where their little figure will move across this track up here, each move triggering a larger dragon bag draw, endangering the other players. Not yourself, you're out of the dungeon, so you're no longer at risk of the dragon. And then finally, the end game. Any player trapped in the deeps when the end game occurs is dead. Any player up here, rescued by villagers. So pretty much the same as dying when the end game triggers there. Anyone who can escape in the meantime while the countdown clock is moving will still receive their mastery token, assuming they've acquired an artifact, which are the hexagon shapes. Various other things, like say these monkey idols, can be worth points, but they don't count as artifacts. Now, throughout the game, as with most deck builders, we will be acquiring new cards by purchasing them, which means paying the cost indicated in the bottom right corner there, and then playing them later on for their effects. Certain cards are monsters that we will have to defeat or potentially ignore. If we defeat them with a sword cost listed at the bottom, then we will receive whatever's listed on the card. And certain other cards, purple bordered ones, are events that will trigger when we acquire them, and then away they go.
One-time uses.
Yep. But so they don't clog up your deck, which is always nice. Now you'll notice some familiar staples to other deck building games. You've got your always available cards here. Kind of fight heavy card, purchase heavy card, and a point heavy card, and the always fightable goblin. And then you'll notice a Star Realms Ascension style market that changes as cards are acquired. Let's see, what else do you need to know? Anything in particular?
No, I think we... The market
Oh, yes, yes, the market, yes. I forgot to cover spaces. Certain spaces are just regular old rooms. Certain spaces are these crystal caverns you see here that stop your movement. Even if you have extra movement points available, you stop when you enter the cavern. Unless, of course, you've got a special effect that either lets you ignore crystal cavern effects or is a teleport. Teleports don't actually count as movement. Well, you couldn't have done that one, but don't actually count as movement. They just, you're one place and then you're another.
You
you're
do have to
teleporting.
follow the path.
Yeah, you do still have to follow the path, yes. But you can skip over things like locks or one-way arrows or what have you. So pretty much if there is a path of any kind, it's viable for a teleport. Now, certain spaces are market spaces. These let you purchase for a cost of 7 coins either a crown, which is worth a decreasing amount of points. You start with the most valuable crown and go down. Backpacks, which will let you hold a second artifact, normally you're restricted to 1, and master keys, which will allow you to freely pass through the lock spaces, which can be quite valuable.
Yes.
Beyond that, there are certain symbols along the path. Monster faces mean that you need to pay a sword for each face or take a damage for each face to cross that route. Locks mean you cannot pass through that tunnel unless you have a key or are teleporting. And footsteps, which mean you need an extra movement point to pass that way.
Also,
So
I'm sorry. No, you finish.
to go along this route, you would need 2 boots instead of 1.
Also, if you look, there is a wraparound path.
Oh yeah, the
Near
little
the
finger
top.
thing.
Yes.
Like so. Then you'll notice these happy little tokens on certain spaces. These are secrets. You can collect 1 secret anytime you enter a room, just as kind of a free action. There are minor secrets, which are the smaller ones, and major secrets, which are the bigger ones. And they're always good. They're just, you don't know necessarily what you're getting. Okay, yep,
Anywhere
that
from
should about
points
cover.
to boosts.
Anything else? Well, you'll find out as the game goes on.
Yep.
So let's get on over to the gameplay.